What's up, guys, and welcome to the first podcast on our channel. Today I'll be solo hosting for this podcast, and my name is Brian, and I'll be the host. Alright, so let's get this started. Now, today's episode or podcast will be focused on the topic of mental wellness for the homeless in LA. This podcast would be a short starter into getting you guys, the audience, to start thinking about the situation. Now, this podcast would be a short starter, so I won't be expecting too much into this first podcast. Just kind of get your mind jogging about what the topic is and kind of see how you think of it as well. Try to get your own foot in the water on this topic. Now, don't worry, these questions aren't going to be too in-depth, nor will they be mind-blowing. It's just, simple things to kind of raise your awareness for the topic. Now, for a disclaimer, some of these questions may seem offsetting or may seem impolite to be thought of or answered, but nonetheless these are definitely important questions to be thinking about, because this just shows how much care and awareness you have for the topic. So, as a starter question, for those of you who have been to the city of LA, try to think the amount of times you've encountered a homeless person. This could be like a month ago, a week ago, a couple of days, recently. Just try to jog your mind and think, so when was the last time I've been to LA and I encountered someone? And personally answering this question myself, being a student at Cal State LA and being someone that lives really close to LA and enjoys the city life, I oftenly travel there, I'd say like every day or every other day. And from my personal experience, I've always encountered homeless people in each of these encounters. So, judging from my own experience, kind of think about yours as well, Now, feel free to pause the video, or if you'd like, you could come back to this question later. But for now, I'll just keep continuing with the rest of my questions, and you can kind of just follow along and hear my own answers, and kind of just think of your own answer as well. So, now, after we just talked about the amount of encounters, now think, how many homeless people did you actually see that encounter? Was it 1, 2, 3? How many did you see? So, for me, if I go to LA on a daily basis, I would say I at least encounter like 6 or 7. Keep in mind, this is me traveling maybe 4 to 5 blocks, every time, just trying to get to a store, restaurant, or whatever, But nonetheless, that is still quite a lot per day of encounters. So, I will say, yes, there is quite a bit that I see daily. And kind of just for you, from your previous encounters, think of the amount of times you've actually seen homeless people there as well. Alright, so, now just thinking about the two questions, the time difference or the time frames you've been there, and the amount you've seen so far in LA, kind of just think about those two relatively. Like, oh, I go to LA so frequently, but at the same time I always see a population of the homeless there. It genuinely seems like there's been an increasing amount, maybe there's a decreasing amount for some of you, or maybe it's been a stagnant amount, Kind of just think, oh snap, how bad is the situation there? And for me, I would say the situation is pretty severe. Judging from my own experiences in being in LA and the amount of encounters I've had and the actual amounts of homeless that I've encountered, it is actually quite a big issue, I believe. Now, kind of going along with the amount you see, do you believe that people are offering help to them? Are they actually receiving the proper care and help required to get them back on their feet? Now, this kind of question relates to the previous one based off of, oh, have I seen an increasing amount? Or, oh, have I seen a decreasing amount? Or maybe it's just a stagnant, which shows that they're either getting help or they're not getting help. So kind of just think about this question. And as I said, I'll be answering as well. So personally, I feel like the amount of homeless people in LA is kind of at the point where it's too abundant to receive the necessary help to get them each on their feet. There's definitely shelters, there's definitely good pass buyers that will make a donation, And there's also people who actually start charities and such to help them out. And these are wonderful options to help them get up on their feet, help them get by daily. But at the same time you know, is this a good kind of help? Now, just hearing how my answer was, I'll be telling you the next question and then kind of just see what you think, or what you've done, or seen that helped the homeless people, So, what do you believe is being offered to the homeless people in LA? Do you think it's just the quick couple bucks, the quick couple change? Is it, I'll buy you a meal? Is it, there's a shelter, down the block. I could take you there and you could settle down if you need a place to stay overnight. There's a soup kitchen nearby. There's free food being offered at charities. Kind of just think of all the different options that are offered to the homeless, and think of some other ways that you can help them out as well. Okay, now, from that previous question, do you believe that the help offered is something that will help them recover completely in their life? Well, not completely, but recover enough to the point where they hold their own, or just barely get them by daily? Now, this question is a big one for me. I personally believe that, yes, these shelters, charities, and everyone's help is definitely helping them get by. But at the same time, it's the big issue of, hey, how long will this help last for? Are they going to be able to survive on their own, or will they just be relying on the help given to them consistently, And I feel like with the current situation, the homeless population isn't getting any better. Yeah, they're making by or living by, but that's just barely. They're not being able to hold up themselves, which is a main key factor to their life, Now, going into this, what kind of help do you believe is required to help them? Personally, seeing this issue, and back to the topic of what I'm talking about, mental wellness is a key factor to everyone's life. And this is definitely a major point for the homeless people as well. Faced with so many issues, maybe trauma, PTSD, mental disorders, there's a lot of factors that play into this topic, and there is a lot of issues that go on their brain that kind of hinders them from recovering back into society. And this is a rough topic to get into, because yes, we do have the medical supplies to help for physical injuries. Yes, we could offer physical sustenance, but what can we really do to help them psychologically? And this is something that most people skip over, they don't really think about. It's just, okay, I'll get this guy some food, I'll get him some shelter, and that's it. But never, or rarely, do people actually stop and think, I should probably take this guy to some kind of therapy, some kind of mental health institution, help them recover back to their feet mentally. So, this is something that I believe people should actually start thinking about and start putting more focus onto as well. Now, kind of think now as in, what would kind of help these people psychologically? Now, you have the obvious, we could take them to therapy, but therapy costs quite a bit for an average person. So, if it costs a bit for an average person, imagine the amount it would cost for the lower income or the homeless. They can't afford to get the necessary help they need. And this is what kind of hinders them from mentally recovering. Same thing with drug abuse and such, Charities do help with them with the best of their capabilities, but they don't have the funding for them to actually provide sufficient help. And this kind of plays into issues as in medical researches as well. These medical facilities aren't adequate in this kind of topic. So this is also another factor on why it's a lot harder to help the homeless situation in LA. We don't really have the necessary technology nor the funding. And for my belief, these are the two key factors that are, hindering the population in LA for the homeless. So this was just a short kind of podcast talking about the issues, kind of talking about my point of view, and trying to just see what you think about these questions as well. Get your toes in the water, see what you think about the whole situation. So as the first podcast, this was relatively short. So the next time we talk, it will be with the rest of the group members, and it would actually be more into depth about their topic. So until then, have a nice day, and take care.